Hello, all you lovely people out there. How are you all doing? I'm Kate Hill and I am here as always to give you the best unbiased and honest commentary about our property markets, along with some really awesome hints and tips. So stay tuned for all the latest property news. Okay. For sale listings across Sydney fell by nearly 20% in July as worried sellers abandoned their plans to sell amid surging virus cases, figures from SQM research have shown. Now, unsurprisingly, home listings under 30 days have dropped the most in areas where harder restrictions were imposed, although sellers in other parts of the city have also retreated as the lockdown is dragging on. In Parramatta, for example, new total listings fell by 33%. They shrank by 30% in Liverpool, 29% in Canterbury, Bankstown, and 21% in Western Sydney. In the Upper North Shore, new listings dropped by 26%. They were down 23% in the eastern suburbs and by 22% in the inner west. SQM Research Managing Director has said that Sydney listings were likely to remain weak for the remainder of August, probably into September, with vendors holding off until there was certainty on the end of the current lockdowns. He thinks that many sellers would be cautious about going into the market under the current conditions, as they cannot conduct public open homes and on-site auctions, he said. Now, agents can, of course, still take buyers through properties. They just need to do it one-on-one. He goes on to say that if we do come out of lockdown by the end of August, which is unlikely, there would be a rush to list in September, as we have seen in Melbourne when the restrictions were lifted there. Then we're likely to see a strong October auction market, as there is currently no shortage of buyers. In Brisbane, which also had its own few-day lockdown, new listings rose by nearly 3% over the month of July, a sign that sellers were becoming more active in the market. Hooray! But if the lockdown drags on, listings are likely to fall, which will exacerbate the shortage we're seeing in Brisbane, not just in Brisbane. In the other cities, Darwin posted a 41% drop in new listings, which is the sharpest decline across all the capitals during the month. Adelaide, which also underwent a short but sharp lockdown, new stock fell by 7%. In Perth, it fell by 4%. Now, by contrast, Melbourne notched up a 9% rise in new stock as more sellers relisted after a nearly 2-week lockdown when that ended. New stock lifted by 11% in Canberra and by 27% in Hobart. Over the year, total listings dropped by 23% nationwide. The latest instalment of the Australian Property Investor magazine's quarterly investor sentiment survey showed that investors remain overwhelmingly positive about the property markets and their prospects for price growth, while affordability has emerged as a bigger concern than the impacts of the pandemic. The survey showed 68% of respondents felt positive about the current state of the property market, with 3 in 4 saying they expected to see price growth in the next 12 months. Australia's rapid house price surge over the past 12 months appears to be a rising concern for investors, with 52% still keen to enter the market, 46% a little bit hesitant. Affordability was the top concern for those surveyed, with 13% of respondents saying it was the most significant issue for investors in today's market. Growth potential was the second biggest concern, followed by a tenant's ability to pay rent during COVID-related lockdowns. Around a third of those surveyed said that they were planning to buy within the next year, while Queensland was the top investment destination, with 36% saying their property activities would take place in the Sunshine State. Investors also indicated a preference to tap into strong capital growth potential in New South Wales, despite high entry prices and dwindling yields, with 28% saying Australia's most populous state was where they were planning to buy, sell, or rent out a property. Now, we all know that Brisbane was awarded the 2032 Olympics. There wasn't anyone else in the running. We do generally see this as a positive influence on the property market, and no doubt you will see every single Brisbane-based property professional telling us that this will be the time to buy property up there. CoreLogic say that with the game still some 11 years away, the flow-on effects are likely to be gradual and centred around significant infrastructure upgrades and the associated medium-term uplift in jobs and longer-term improvements in transport efficiency. The most significant positive influence on the housing market is likely to be seen in the years leading up to the Olympics, rather than during the 4 weeks of the Olympics and Paralympic Games themselves. Large infrastructure projects tend to have a positive influence on housing prices, with the extra requirement for workers creating additional demand for housing during the construction processes. Large projects also tend to leave a legacy of a permanent housing demand uplift, either through additional employment or via other benefits such as improved transport options and travel efficiencies related to transport infrastructure projects, as well as additional amenities introduced to the area, including social and retail outlets. As more detail comes to light about where these projects will be located, we should get a better understanding of the housing market opportunities. Now, keep in mind that a lot of those venues where the Olympics are going to be held already exist. There's a lot of existing infrastructure there already. The proposed $1 billion overhaul of the Gabba Stadium is set to be the epicentre of Olympic activity. Along with the Cross River Rail Terminal and Plaza, this precinct is likely to see a lift in desirability. The area is already popular with investors, with around 2/3 of the housing stock in and around Wollongabba being rented. The proximity of the Princess Alexandra Hospital and Mater Hospital provide a permanent level of localised housing demand, along with easy access to the Brisbane CBD, local universities and South Bank precincts. The lower price point, combined with upcoming capital investment on infrastructure, are likely to be a popular combination with investors and developers alike. Other areas said to benefit would be the proposed sites for athlete villages earmarked for Hamilton and Robina, along with areas set to benefit from transport infrastructure upgrades, including the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast via upgrades to the M1 Pacific Motorway and Bruce Highway, which could be accelerated. Now, we will keep you posted as always on all things property from around Australia as our year progresses. I am definitely giving you the best commentary and content here on my channel, so please let me just beg you, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button too if you're enjoying the content. I really, really do appreciate it. And you are going to get all our expert hints and tips around buying, owning and investing in property as soon as I post them up. And I will see you really soon. Bye.